Okay, let's dive into this explainer. To start, I want you to completely strip away every single one of our modern comforts. Seriously, forget your walls, forget your doors, your locks, all of it. Step straight into the pitch-black, terrifying reality of life before 10,000 years ago. Welcome to a world where humanity was, well, definitely not at the top of the food chain. We were literally on the menu.
It's kind of the ultimate evolutionary puzzle, right? How exactly did a biologically fragile, ground-dwelling, basically hairless species manage to survive? I mean, we were completely surrounded by highly evolved, armor-crushing killing machines. So today we're unpacking the behaviors, the advanced tools, and the totally bizarre biology that allowed us to pull off the ultimate survival story. Because it's absolutely vital to understand that we were unequivocally prey at the start. We weren't these rugged, muscular hunters casually wrestling lions, you know? Go back 2.5 million years, and early Homo species had small, still developing brains and zero complex tools. We were bottom-tier prey, facing off against genuine monsters, like cave bears that stood 12 feet tall and weighed up to 1,000 kilograms. Just to really put the scale of this threat into perspective, think about the number 28. 28 centimeters. That is how far a Smilodon's saber-toothed fangs could reach. These weren't cartoon villains. These were highly functional, real-world weapons, specifically designed to destroy soft tissue. And the craziest part? Our ancestors were walking right into their traps every single day just by gathering near water sources, because, well, that's exactly where the predators knew we had to go. Now just lower the lights in your mind and imagine the nighttime. Sleep is an incredible vulnerability. I mean, for roughly 8 hours a day, early humans were completely unconscious. Their sensory awareness was reduced to almost zero, right in the middle of an environment where large predators are most active. It's an immense vulnerability. Honestly, it almost seems like a huge biological design flaw to be that exposed. So, to survive this nightly terror, our ancestors had to adapt, but it came with some seriously uncomfortable trade-offs. Before fire, one major solution was elevation. Just like chimps, we literally slept high up in trees to avoid whatever was prowling on the ground. The other option? Caves. But moving into a cave often meant time-sharing, real estate with prehistoric lions or cave bears that were already using them as dens. Imagine waking up to that kind of roommate? No, thank you. Section 1. Game Changers. Knowledge and physics. This is where the story starts to shift. First up, we stayed together. The dilution effect is a harsh mathematical reality. If a saber-toothed cat sees one human, well, that's an easy meal. But if it sees a screaming, rock-throwing group of 25 humans advancing on it, its risk-reward calculation fundamentally breaks. Large predators have super thin margins for injury. A hurt predator is a starving predator. So a coordinated group defense essentially forced them to back off and look for an easier, lower-risk target. But the really crucial point is what happened when our cognitive developments finally caught up. We developed complex, generative language. And this was an absolute game changer. It meant a deadly encounter with a leopard didn't just die with the unfortunate victim. Through language, it became a permanent warning. You could literally tell the group, hey, if you see these tracks, go the other way. We turned individual survival into a generational database, a permanent network of knowledge that just never stopped growing. Looking at the timeline of all this, we started as sheer, totally vulnerable prey 2.5 million years ago. But around 400,000 years ago, we hit a massive turning point. Over in Schoningen, Germany, archaeologists unearthed wooden spears from this era. And listen, these were not just sharpened sticks. They were beautifully engineered aerodynamic tools, weighted toward the front for stability. Whoever made them intuitively understood projectile physics, all without ever writing a single word down. And the transition from melee combat to projectile weapons? Completely revolutionary. In melee, if you want to hurt a predator, you have to be within its reach. And let's face it, that is a fight you are going to lose. But with a projectile weapon like those spears, suddenly you can inflict lethal damage from 20, 30, even 40 meters away. You never have to enter the lethal range of a predator's claws. And because predators are smart and they learn, they actually started avoiding groups of humans. The fear completely reversed direction. Section 2. Endurance Machines. The Secret Weapon. Now, let's contrast our stats against an apex predator. Take a lion. It has this explosive 60-kilometer-per-hour sprint, but it's metabolically disastrous in the heat. Why? Because they cool down by panting, which literally requires them to stop running. Now compare that to us.
We have an incredibly energy-efficient bipedal gait, and we sweat across our entire body surface area. We can run and thermoregulate at the exact same time. By mammalian standards, that is completely bizarre. And this weird biology enabled something called persistence hunting. The twisted reality here is that humans are essentially ugly, soft-skinned endurance machines. We could run prey to the point of complete heat stroke over extreme distances. Seriously, try asking a lion to run at a moderate pace in 30-degree heat for 4 hours. It can't do it. It will literally die. But we can. We can outlast almost anything on Earth, giving us the ultimate fallback option to just outrun a predator's stamina. Section 3. Flipping the map, landscape of fear. In ecology, there's this fascinating concept called the landscape of fear. Basically, it's the internal spatial map that prey animals use to navigate risk. A gazelle, for instance, avoids certain valleys at certain times because it calculates where lions might be. Early humans did this too, but here's the kicker. We did it collectively. Over generations, using that incredible language database we talked about, we actively updated these mental maps to avoid seasonal bear migrations or lion watering holes, sharing the exact safe routes with each other. But then, we flipped the map entirely. Fueled by the terrifying, uncontrollable boundary of fire, which is a deep evolutionary fear for pretty much all land predators, and backed by the lethal range of our throwing spears, we just stopped tiptoeing around the predator's map. We aggressively started driving them out of their own dens, expanding our territory right at their expense. We stopped being something the world happened to, and we started happening to the world. Section 4. The Apex Predator. Dominating the world. We call this the behavioral modernity threshold. When we hit this mark around 50,000 years ago, the sheer scale of our coordination changed everything. We weren't just defending ourselves anymore, right? We were using cave paintings for complex communication, engaging in long-range planning, and organizing massive coordinated cliff drives. The archaeological evidence shows we were systematically hunting cave lions and bears, not just for self-defense, but for their pelts and for cultural status. We were sending a very clear message. And the result of this shift is honestly staggering. Think about the woolly mammoth, the saber-toothed cat, the giant ground sloth, the cave lion, the cave bear. These were incredible beasts that survived entire ice ages and tectonic catastrophes. Yet they mysteriously vanished on nearly every single continent right after fully modern humans showed up. The correlation there is simply too consistent to ignore. We weren't the biggest, we weren't the fastest, and we definitely weren't the strongest. But we had fire, spears, endurance, and this massive accumulated knowledge. As a result, we were just quietly, unstoppably, the most dangerous thing to have ever walked on this planet. The prehistoric predators learned way too late to be afraid of the hairless apes that can learn faster than evolution itself could adapt. Which leaves us with this final, really provocative thought for this explainer. We went from being completely helpless prey, literally hiding up in trees, to becoming the absolute masters of the globe. If our ancestors could conquer the ultimate prehistoric monsters with nothing but sticks, sweat, and a generational database of language,